Rosa's attorney called her 3 weeks after she filed her husband's green card paperwork. Not with bad news, with a request. I need 6 months of your remittance receipts. The ones from the money transfer counter, not the app. Rosa had sent cash to her mother in Mexico almost every month for 4 years. She never kept a single receipt. That phone call turned into 3 weeks of scrambling to rebuild a financial history she didn't know she'd need. Here's what almost nobody sending money home actually knows. The number everyone worries about, $10,000, isn't even the threshold that matters most. There's a lower one. It's been quietly sitting in federal regulation since 1995. Not knowing about it is exactly what cost Rosa those 3 weeks. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that threshold is. What actually happens when your financial history gets reviewed during a green card case? And if you've been sending cash for years without keeping records, exactly how to fix that, starting today. Everyone heard the $10,000 rule. Banks report cash transactions over that amount. That's real. It's been federal law for decades. And it applies to everyone equally, whether you're an immigrant, a citizen, or a small business owner buying equipment in cash. But here's what almost no one knows. For international wire transfers specifically, the record-keeping threshold that actually matters most is $3,000, not $10,000. Since 1995, federal regulation called the travel rule has required banks and money transfer companies to log the sender's name, address, transfer details, and the recipient's information on any international wire transfer of $3,000 or more. That means if you send even $500 a month to support your family, 4 transfers in, you've already crossed it. Your bank has been documenting every detail this whole time, whether you realized it or not. I want to be very clear about something. This is not a red flag. It's not evidence of anything wrong. It's the system working exactly as it's designed to work for everyone who sends money internationally. Millions of transfers cross this threshold every single day. The overwhelming majority never become an issue for anyone. But here's why it matters for your specific situation. That data exists. It's retained for years. And when your green card case, or your spouse's or parents', reaches a point where financial documentation matters, that history can become part of the conversation. Which brings us to what actually happened to Rosa. Rosa did nothing illegal. Every transfer she made was completely legal. She was helping her mother pay for medicine and rent. That was never the problem. The real problem appeared much later. It happened when her attorneys started preparing her husband's Affidavit of Support. You may know it as Form I-864. This is the form that shows a sponsor has enough income to financially support the family member they are sponsoring. To approve that form, USCIS expects the sponsor to prove their income. That usually means tax returns, pay stubs, employment records, and other financial documents. Here is where many people get caught off guard. The officer is not just looking at one document. They are looking at the entire financial picture. They want the records to make sense together. Rosa's tax returns showed one picture, her bank statements showed another, and years of cash transfers had almost no paper trail because she threw away the receipts after sending the money. Her attorney looked at the file and said, "I am not questioning why you helped your mother. I am making sure your financial records are complete enough that nobody else has to question them either." That one sentence changed everything. Rosa spent the next 3 weeks calling the transfer company, requesting old transaction histories, searching through drawers, reviewing old bank statements, and trying to rebuild records she never imagined she would need. Not because she had broken the law, not because sending money was wrong, but because cash leaves very little evidence unless you create that record yourself. That is the financial mistake most people never see coming. Everyone gets wrong. Now let me clear up another myth, because this one scares a lot of people. I see it in comment sections all the time. Some people believe sending money to family overseas can make them a public charge. That is not how the rule works. Public charge is about something completely different. It asks one question: is the immigrant applying for a green card likely to depend on certain government benefits in the future? That is what the officer is looking at, not whether you helped your parents, not whether you helped your children, not whether you sent money overseas. Sending money home by itself does not make someone a public charge. So if you have been worrying about that, stop worrying about the wrong thing. The better question is this: can the sponsor clearly prove their income? Can they meet the financial requirements? Can their records support what the application says? That is where the real attention belongs. Because this is not about where your money went. It is about whether your financial records tell one clear and consistent story. Once people understand that, everything starts to make much more sense. But there is one more myth that causes even bigger problems. It involves the famous $10,000 rule. And bad advice about that rule has created unnecessary trouble for a lot of honest people. Let me explain why. Now let's talk about another mistake, because this one causes real problems, and bad advice about it is everywhere. You may have heard someone say, never send more than $10,000. Or maybe they told you, split the money into smaller transfers, that way nobody notices. That advice is completely backwards. The $10,000 reporting rule is not an immigration rule. It is a banking reporting rule. Some people become so focused on avoiding that number, they intentionally split one large transfer into several smaller ones, just to stay below the reporting threshold. That has a name. It is called structuring. And structuring can create far bigger problems than simply sending the money normally. The issue was never the amount. The issue is trying to avoid a reporting requirement. That is exactly the pattern financial institutions are trained to look for. So if someone tells you, just keep every transfer under $10,000, do not assume that advice is correct. Trying to outsmart the system is usually what creates the real problem. The safest approach is much simpler. Send your money honestly, report your income accurately, keep good records, and let your financial history speak for itself. Now, maybe you are watching this and thinking, I have been sending cash for years. I never kept the receipts. What should I do now? The good news is, you can start fixing that today. Let me show you how. Now, you may be thinking, I have been sending money home for years. Most of it was cash. I never saved the receipts. What do I do now? First, do not panic. Thousands of honest families are in exactly the same situation. And in many cases, you can start rebuilding your records. Start with your bank. Ask for older account statements. Many banks keep several years of history. Those statements help show when the money left your account. Next, contact the company you used to send the money, whether it was Western Union, MoneyGram, Remitly, or another service. Ask for your transaction history. Many companies can provide records linked to your phone number or your account. Then start matching those transfers with important events. Maybe you sent money because your mother needed surgery. Maybe it was for school fees. Maybe it was after a family emergency. Old text messages, emails, medical bills, school invoices. These can help you rebuild the timeline. Now, create one simple record. Write down the date, the amount, who received the money, and why you sent it. It does not have to be complicated. It just needs to be organized. The biggest mistake is waiting until someone asks for these records. That is exactly what happened to Rosa. She spent 3 stressful weeks rebuilding information she could have organized little by little over the years. Do the work now, while you have time, not when the pressure starts. Because preparation is always easier than reconstruction. If you remember only one thing from this video, remember this. Sending money to your family is not the mistake. The mistake is assuming you will never have to explain it. If you send money home every month, take 10 minutes this week. Gather your records. Download your statements. Save your transfer history. Put everything in one place. Your future self will be grateful you did, because when important questions come, preparation beats memory every time. One more thing. Do not rely on rumors, do not rely on social media, and never rely on someone calling themselves an immigration expert if they are not licensed. If your case involves an affidavit of support or any other immigration filing, talk to a licensed immigration attorney about your specific situation. Every case is different. If this video helped you understand something new, let me know in the comments. I read every one of them, and many of your questions become future videos. If you want clear immigration guidance without the fear and without the rumors, subscribe to Immigrant Shield USA. New videos every week. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and remember, the best time to organize your financial records is before anyone asks to see them.